What's good, y'all? It's Adam Ali. Thank you for being here. I finally have a name for this new segment on the channel. The name was given by one of y'all. Thank you. The name is called Beyond the Hustle. Okay, I'm going with that. It's very fitting. Anyhow, straight to the topic of today's video. Was Will Smith protecting his wife, Jada Pinkett, at the Oscars? I am just going to be sharing various thoughts about this slap heard across the world. And just, yeah, it's up to you all to decide. Y'all can comment below if you felt like he was protecting her or not. So let's dissect the event. Chris Rock makes a joke about Jada and her shaved head. The first thing that comes to my mind when watching this is, hey, it's receptive, meaning Will Smith laughed. You could clearly see him laughing about it. And then, you know, whether he got influenced or realized like, hey, that's not a good joke, came second. And then he walks onto the stage, gives him a pretty solid slap. One thing I should point out that I noticed was how calm Chris Rock was. He had his hand behind his back, which indicates this is a code. When there's codes in this world. Like if someone is in a fetal position, for example, you don't continue to hit them. Like this is actually code in various cultures. If someone has their hands behind their back like that, they don't mean malice, like, you know. So Will Smith slaps him. You know, I noticed that his hand was in the back, Chris' hands was behind him, and, you know, laughs and says the show must go on and reiterates to him that it was a joke, you know. And there's comments about people saying that it wasn't him that wrote the joke, or did he make that joke on the fly? It doesn't matter, really. Whether he wrote the joke or it was written by someone else, he said it. You know, now there's the other side to this. A lot of people have claimed that Chris Rock has been picking on Jada. When Jada years ago was, I believe, boycotting the Oscars.
A couple years ago, when Jada and Will was saying that they were going to boycott the Oscars, Chris Rock was the host of the Oscars. When Chris Rock opened the stage a few years ago, he literally opened up the stage with a joke about Jada. We're trying to boycott. And then the black host opens up the joke, open up the whole Oscars about a joke on a black woman, and y'all sitting around laughing.
Chris Rock opened the show attacking Jada. So this planted a seed where, you know, I felt like Will remember this. They both remember this. And the moment that occurred that triggered him to go and slap, you know, him. You know, clearly Chris Rock has triggered the Smiths, and they had enough. The question is, was he protecting his wife truly? And that's really, you know, based on your values. You know, some people are going to look at this like, yeah, he was protecting his wife. Some people are going to say like, yeah, there's a time and place for that. And some people are going to say, no, he wasn't. I don't really have a solid answer for, you know, for this. Do I think he was protected? I mean, clearly his actions were, like, clearly his actions was trying to exhibit that. Do I think? I can't say that, because it's him doing the action, if that makes any sense. Yeah, clearly Will Smith reached a threshold, a boiling point where he had enough. Enough is enough. And, you know, he did what he did, but he apologized. So clearly he knew what he did is, you know, is wrong. He clearly has apologized, and it seemed like, a real written apology letter, or statement, I should say. Now let's look at the aftermath of all of this. This is going to be here. That clip is going to be a meme. It's going to be part of the Oscar history, entertainment history, Black history forever. And it did stain Will Smith's first Oscar. He even said it in the statement, it stained this moment by him doing that. It's super unfortunate. What I will say is that Chris Rock deserves real respect, a true professional. Because imagine if he either ducked or hit him back. Us Black people, they already look at us in a certain type of way, which is a problem too. That also showed them that, even the most elite, the top tier, professionals, we can get we can get hood with it. So it was very unfortunate, but Chris Rock was a true professional in this situation. He laughed about it, reiterated it was a joke, never fought on stage, and still kept his hand behind his back, took it very professionally, and just walked out. While Will Smith went on to acting mode, came back on the stage moments later, accepted a speech like nothing just happened, went partying after, which tells you like these guys are true actors. Like they're great at blocking emotions. I don't think it's emotional intelligence. They have this practice, going through emotions through years of acting that they can really exhibit or portray. I mean, they're acting, they're great. So he kicked that gear in and went on like it was nothing happened, but clearly there are ramifications for it. I can't say whether he protected her or not. Y'all comment below, let me know. I think again it was unfortunate because that clip is going to be there forever. These guys are geniuses, marketing genius. Chris Rock has a tour coming up soon with Kevin Hart. I'm sure they're gonna find a way to spin this or bring more visibility, or he might just use this as a victim card and people are just gonna come out and support it even more. So we live in a time where people can hurt you, but you could still come out of it unscathed. So I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen with Chris Rock. I don't think his career or anything will be altered because of this situation at all. Will Smith? Probably, because now, they're going to look at him as a problematic. He's certainly going to have to look into, what are deeper inner emotions that he's been suppressing. And he's gonna have to have this conversation, real conversation within himself, because he let that woman put a battery in his back and, stain, real hard work that he's done. Everybody loves Will. He's like up there with Denzel Washington of just, top entertainers out there. So it's super unfortunate. Anyhow, let me know in the comments what y'all thought about the event. Was he protecting his wife, Jada? There's comments about there. I've seen comments saying like, why would he even protect her after, the August situation when, she was messing with August, and it just makes him look like he ain't got no back. Or maybe now he's trying to pretend like, now he's trying to portray that, he's solid. I've heard jokes that, this is what happens when you're wearing a, what would Tupac do, bracelet. And he acted upon that. Nobody wins in this situation, especially Will Smith. It's unfortunate for the culture. But yeah, comment below. Let me know your thoughts about the Oscars and specifically around the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. And DM me. Let me know some other topics I should cover. Appreciate everyone who chimed in on coming up with a name for this channel, but I'm going with Beyond the Hustle. All right, catch you guys in the next video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.